The following audio may contain the personal testimonials of Take Shape for Life health coaches or clients. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified, and your individual path to healthy living and weight loss will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a physician before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Take Shape for Life team.
Good evening and welcome to the Take Shape for Life Habits of Health call. I'm Shirley Mast. I'm a certified health coach, and it's my pleasure to host this call for you. Now, if this is your first time joining the Habits of Health call, a special welcome to you. This call is for all Take Shape for Life clients, coaches, and health professionals. You might not fit in any of those categories, and maybe you're just simply interested in learning more about our program and how to create better health. Well, regardless of what perspective you're coming from, welcome. We're really glad you're here. Now, you might hear content that's geared towards those that are in various stages of their health journey. Some will be in the weight loss phase. Maybe they are in transition. Maybe there's some that are in the optimization phase. They're moving on towards a lifetime of optimal health. And as many of you know, Take Shape for Life offers excellent tools and support for those in weight loss, but we also have a lot to offer to anyone who's looking for better health in any area of your life at all. So if you're in the weight loss phase, perhaps you're on our Optimal Health 5-in-1 plan, please be sure to follow the guidelines that have been set up for you as guided by your free health coach. Now, this webinar is being recorded and it will be available on your health coach's co-branded website, as well as on our YouTube channel and our podcast. It's usually posted there within 48 hours. If you're looking on YouTube, search for Habits of Health Zoom, and you should be able to find it there. For podcast, open the podcast player of your choice. We recommend iTunes, that seems to work well, and search for Take Shape for Life, or TSFL. You can also access the video recordings as well. Your health coach can give you the list to that archive list. So for those of you that are listening to the recording or the podcast later, we're so glad you've taken the time. Congratulations to you for investing in your health. And we invite you to join us live next time to be part of the discussion. These Habits of Health support webinars are held every Wednesday evening at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And you can visit your health coach's co-branded website for the link, or you can talk to whoever it was that invited you onto the call. But regardless, we're just really excited about the topic this evening, and we're really eager to get this evening going. I'll tell you, I have special guests joining me this evening, and I'll introduce you to them in just a moment. But I'm really excited about the opportunity that we have this evening to talk to you about a topic that is a favorite one of mine. Partly because of the simplicity of this habit of health. Drinking water has such incredible benefits, and yet it is such a simple thing to do. We'll get to that in just a moment. I'll do a little bit more of a self-introduction, and I want to introduce you to our special guest this evening. As I said, my name is Shirley Mast, and as some of you know, I've had a pretty substantial health journey of my own. It was back in August of 2010 that my physician said to me, "You've got to take a look at this program." He said, "I think this program is going to help you." And as you can, for those of you that are watching the video on this, you know, you can see the picture of me. I weighed close to 400 pounds, and my health was in a very desperate place. I will tell you this. The thing that I found on this journey to health was that the hardest part of this was making the decision to get healthy. Once I made the decision, this program is really quite simple to follow. And as a result, I've lost 215 pounds on this program. Because I've got the tools and support, I've got a health coach that's still contacting me on a regular basis. I've learned habits of health. I've got this fantastic optimal health community surrounding me, which is you all. And because of that, I'm not afraid that the weight's ever coming back. And that has just been an incredible pleasure for me and an incredible blessing for me. And it's part of the reason why I am so passionate about being able to share with you all in the Habits of Health call, because why would I not want to share with people what I've learned on my journey to health as well? So I'm just, again, so delighted that you all are here. Now, I got to tell you, I'm really delighted that the people that you're going to hear from next are here. Matt and Audrey Hartsock are dear friends of ours. They're coaches on our team, and they've been helping a lot of people to get healthy. But they've got a pretty fantastic health story themselves. So Matt and Audrey, tell people a little bit about what they should know.
Well, hey, everybody. It's a real privilege to be here with you. And like Shirley said, my husband and I had a significant weight loss of our own. It's been probably about 5 years ago now that we began our health journey. And it was really early in our marriage. We've been married 25 plus years. Early in our marriage that we developed some really bad habits that just led to a weight problem. Neither one of us were overweight teenagers or kids. But really, after getting married, working second shift, eating late night unhealthy meals, inactivity, just bad habit on top of bad habit, led to a serious weight problem. For me, I found myself 100 pounds overweight and really, really desperate to change that. And tried a lot of things out there, a lot of popular weight loss programs, saw some temporary progress. But after 2 pregnancies and multiple failed attempts at a healthy lifestyle, just found myself nearly giving up and resigned to a lifetime of obesity. And I just couldn't do that. I couldn't allow that to happen because of the fact that we were raising 2 beautiful little girls. And something just deep inside me said, you've got to fix this, especially as I watched them watching me. And I knew I wanted to set an example. So I'm so grateful for a friend of mine who led me to this program and connected me with you, Shirley. And as a result of starting on this program and kept practicing the habits of health, one of which, of course, is good drinking of water, I went on to lose 100 pounds and conquer that thing in my life that always controlled me, and that was my addiction to food and overeating. And like Shirley said, the habits of health I learned through this process, the support I've received and continue to receive, has enabled me to get control of my issue with food and my overweight issue. And I'm living a life that I only dreamed was possible before.
Yeah. Well, and being the supportive husband that I am, when Audrey started this program, I just wanted nothing to do with it whatsoever.
You want support like that, don't you?
But you know, a week or so into the program, she was just feeling fantastic. She was so motivated, so excited, and I just didn't want to be left behind. So I got connected with Shirley. And you know, what I love about this program is going into it, I just wanted to feel better. You know, I wanted to feel better physically. I wanted to feel better about myself. And what Shirley helped me realize was that I met my goal really early on because I did feel better. And what she did is she really helped me figure out what my motivation was going to be to continue this. And as I dove into the habits of health and I plugged into the community, you know, I started to get a picture in my mind of really what a healthy life would look like for us. And kept my eyes on that and used my support. And I went on to lose 50 pounds. And we have just been so, so grateful for the changes that we've been able to make, you know, not only losing the weight, but how to apply the habits of health in all areas of our life. And we're just so, so thankful that we found this program.
Oh, I love it, guys. And there's a lot of you who are listening here that are thinking, well, okay, I got my money's worth out of this call already. She doesn't even have to cover that water thing, because aren't these stories fantastic? I just never get tired of those. And I'll tell you, we'll make this call just a little interactive. There is a chat function here on Zoom. So if you click on the chat window, here's what I want you to do. Now, don't take a lot of time with this because I want to make sure that you're still listening to what we have coming up. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to put into the chat box, how long have you been part of our program, and one accomplishment that you're really proud of, okay? So go. How long you've been part of the program and one accomplishment that you're really proud of. Now, you guys can read that. We won't be able to call out all of the responses on that, but we'd love to hear from you guys. So let's go dive into our topic tonight. Matt and Audrey, you ready to go?
Absolutely.
All right. So we're going to be talking a little bit about how drinking water can help you stay healthier, can help you lose weight more effectively. I know a lot of you are really interested in that. We'll talk a little bit about how much to drink and how to accomplish it. Some of you are kind of at the point of thinking, okay, I know I should drink water. I just can't figure out how to get that done. We're going to do that tonight too. And we're going to also give you some tips to help make that healthy action a habit. So if you haven't already done so, grab a piece of paper. You might want to take some notes. And let's go dive in. I'll tell you this, the things that we're going to be sharing tonight, these ideas that we're sharing are not original with us. They come from the program, really, of the heart of our program, which is the Habits of Health system that was created by Dr. Wayne Scott Anderson. He is the co-founder of our program. And so those of you who are clients are already well acquainted with Dr. A's Habits of Health and with the companion guide, Living a Longer, Healthier Life. The one that I don't have pictured here is also the Stop, Challenge, Choose ebook. And that's something that we use with all of our clients when they first get started. If you are not a client yet, but you're kind of curious about what we do, talk with the person who invited you onto this call and say, hey, could I get a copy of that Stop, Challenge, Choose ebook that Dr. Anderson wrote? And I am certain that they can hook you up with a complimentary copy. So Matt and Audrey, take it from here. Why is water good for us?
All right. Well, water is good for us, but why is that? And I got to say, Shirley, of all the habits of health, I know they are all important. Water is probably one of my favorites. Like you said, it's just such a simple thing to include in your health journey, but it does take some intentionality. So let's talk about water. Why is it important? Well, first of all, water makes up about 55 to 60% of our weight. Did you know that? That's a lot. We are a lot of water. And the fact is, our body can't store water, so we need to replenish it often. What that means is a minimum of 8 glasses, or about 64 ounces of water daily. It's just a basic habit of health, and it's honestly one that is just non-negotiable for me. I have to get my water. What does water do for us, Matt?
Well, first of all, it really helps all of our organs and systems to function properly. You know, as you saw, we are mostly made up of water, so it's really important that we're keeping ourselves properly hydrated for that. Plus, it really helps move nutrients, hormones, oxygen through the bloodstream and the lymphatic system, which is something, I don't know, I kind of enjoy when my when my systems are working correctly. Also, it helps to remove waste. You know, really helps your kidneys filter all those impurities out of your system. It's kind of like a lubricant. It keeps your joints bending smoothly. It helps maintain muscle tone. Really helps you regulate your body temperature. You know, when you're perspiring, you know, that helps you lower your body temperature, and you need to have that fluid in you to be able to do that. And speaking of moving things, I had to go there. It can really relieve constipation. You know, this is something that I didn't even realize, but when your body's dehydrated, water is removed from the colon to compensate that. And so that's a really great tip. You know, if you're struggling with that, just make sure you're getting properly hydrated. You know, more water intake can just help your system get back to normal. And this last one, I heard Dr. A say this one time, and this really struck a chord with me, that when you're not drinking enough water, your body is forced to recycle dirty water. And when I thought of that, I just saw this glass of dirty water, and that just like prompted me to pick up my water bottle. I just wanted to make sure that I just had clean water, you know, running through my system.
Absolutely.
So if you've got an incredible gross out factor and you're all now quickly picking up your water bottles, okay, I'm working done, right?
Clean water, yes.
Well, and I think often people will say, okay, great, I get it, I should drink more water. You know, Matt and Audrey, you listed some really compelling reasons, honestly. Any one of those reasons would be a good reason to pick up that water glass. But people sometimes wonder, okay, well, how much water should I drink? And actually, I'd love to have you do this too, just as a self-check. You don't need to put this in the chat box, but just do it as a self-check. How much water are you drinking now? If you're like I was when I first got started on this journey to health, I was lucky if I drank 8 ounces of water in any given day. I drank a lot of diet soda. I drank a lot of coffee. And granted, they have fluid to them too, but I really didn't drink much water. So just kind of do a self-check. How much water do you really actually drink in a given day? And then we'll talk about how much you should have. And I'll tell you this, you know, unless your healthcare provider has restricted your water intake for some reason, We would recommend drinking 64 ounces of, well, let me back up here. I'm getting a little too far ahead. We would recommend drinking 64 ounces of water each day. Some may need to drink more. You know, if you're exercising or if you're in a really hot climate, you may need to drink more. But for some of you, 64 ounces of water is a lot more water than you're drinking right now, right? Be honest, just blink at me if that's true, right? Okay. But the thing is, for a lot of people, dehydration is a reality more often than we realize. And actually, I think yeah, there we go. I'm a little bit behind on my slides. And I find that for a lot of people, they don't quite realize how often their body's actually a little too dry. Matt and Audrey, you want to take it from here while I try to figure out what's going on with my slides?
Yeah, I mean, we do lose nearly 12 cups of water every day. That's a lot.
That's a lot of water.
2 cups through perspiration, 6 through urine, 2 to 4 just by breathing, and even more in cold weather. And 1 cup of water through the soles of our feet every day. You know, and this is going to vary depending on the size of the individual. And for those of you who live in higher altitudes, you're going to lose even more.
Yeah, so dehydration, like Shirley said, it is a reality. It happens more often probably than we realize. There's times that it's more, more likely, and that would be after a hard workout. Matt and I love to work out. That's been another habit of health that we have put in our schedule. And after a good hard workout, you've sweated a lot of water off. A good hot day, just being outside in the elements, windy weather, hot, sunshiny weather, being at a sporting event, again, out in the elements for long periods of time. You may start to feel like, oh, I just feel a little lightheaded or dizzy, or I have this nagging mild headache. Can be signs of just a little bit of dehydration. Some other signs that we need more water, just what I call that foggy brain. You're just a little bit less focused, not as sharp. Short-term memory begins to suffer when we begin to be dehydrated. A dry mouth, obviously, or your urine is just darker in color. That's a definite sign that you're getting dehydrated. You experience some muscle weakness, perhaps, or again, just that lightheaded feeling, just slightly off balance. All potential signs of dehydration. And sometimes you have those symptoms, and I don't know, I'll speak for myself. Sometimes I think, oh man, I'm hungry. I must need something to eat. I'm a little lightheaded. I feel a little tired. And my first reaction is to reach for something to eat. What if instead we would try just drinking some water, 12 to 16 ounces of water? See what that does. Give it a few minutes, 15 minutes or so. It won't hurt. And what I found is that simple trick has saved me from, eating something that I really didn't need to eat. I was just thirsty. My body just needed water. So that has become my go-to when I begin to feel some of those symptoms. And again, drink some water. It won't hurt. See what that does.
But, it's such a simple way to, when you're dealing, if indeed the fact that you're a little bit dry is causing these issues, drinking a bottle of water is really a simple way to fix that. And I mean, you've seen, I tend to drink water in a large container. I had an experience not too long ago, like I'd been on my health journey long enough that I should know better. And I'm used to drinking a fair amount of water first thing in the morning because I just find that I feel better. I've spent the whole night not drinking any water. So I know that when I wake up, my body's a little dry. And I had a morning, I was getting about mid-morning and I thought, wow, I'm just not on top of my game. It's just I'm just not at full speed here. What's the problem? I've eaten. I had a good night's sleep. What's the problem? And then I realized I hadn't had nearly as much water in. It was like about 10 o'clock in the morning. And I hadn't had nearly as much water in as my body was used to having. Put down those, what did you say, Audrey? Put down like 12 ounces of water or whatever. And all of a sudden, head cleared up. Obviously, your results may vary on this, but sometimes that's a really simple solution to do that.
It's so true. I take a bottle of water everywhere I go. My favorite color, orange. Bag with me. Matt always says he can always tell when I've gotten up in the middle of the night because he hears when I come back to bed, I have to chug a little water. It's just, I found the more you drink, the more I personally, the more I want. I love water.
Yeah. And it's such a simple step. Now, here's the part some of you are really eager to hear about, okay? Because you're thinking, okay, great. I mean, some of you are really working on getting healthier by taking off some unwanted pounds. Okay, so you came onto this call saying, okay, how's drinking water going to help me lose weight? Okay, well, you're going to want to hear this. Okay, excuse me. So what you're going to find is during weight loss, water has a lot of benefits to you. Okay, like we talked about before, it's going to help your body function more efficiently. And here's the other thing that's kind of cool. Did you guys figure this out? You can drink a whole glass of water. Do you know how many calories you get out of that? You don't have to put that in the chat box either. It's a trick question, okay? There are 0 calories in a glass of water. How cool is that? But it does help to suppress the appetite. Like Audrey just talked about, there's times that you feel like you're hungry and it's actually thirst. So drinking more water is gonna help suppress your appetite, help you feel more full. The other thing that's kind of cool is, and the other thing that you'll find is in that whole suppressing your appetite, drinking more water, some studies have shown that actually 30% of the time hunger is actually, when you feel hunger, it's actually thirst. But it will also help remove the toxins that are stored in the fat. It's gonna, I think you're gonna find, like we talked about, tends to minimize the fatigue and the headaches and the unclear thinking like we talked about just a moment ago. I know that for me, I love how I feel when I'm drinking more water. It will also tend to speed up the metabolism. There was a really interesting study that was done that showed that if you drank 2 8-ounce glasses of cold water, it increased your metabolic rate by 30% for 90 minutes. Well, when your metabolic rate's up a little bit, you would tend to be burning more energy and possibly burning more fat. It's also going to help that liver convert fat into energy, which you kind of want. Okay, if you've got extra fat on your body that you don't want, it's nice to just burn that off by turning it into energy, right? And it will tend to decrease your fluid retention, which seems kind of odd, doesn't it? If you're retaining fluid, you would think, well, I would want to drink less water, but it tends to work the other way around. It's going to also help your body metabolize the stored fat. Actually, the increased water intake might actually help to reduce some of your fat deposits. And I'll tell you this, I'm going to read this because I'm taking it straight from Dr. Anderson. Then he says, here's why. Okay, the kidneys can't function properly without enough water. And when they don't work to capacity, some of the load is dumped onto the liver. One of the liver's primary functions is to metabolize stored fat into usable energy for the body. But if the liver has to do some of the kidneys' work, it can't operate at full throttle. And as a result, it metabolizes less fat. More fat remains stored in the body. None of us wants that, right? And the weight loss stops. And that's something. That's your little interesting tidbit for the day, right? Now, for those of us that are past 40, and I'll tell you I'm a few years past 40. I won't tell you how many, we'll just say I'm and Matt and Audrey won't tell you either. But it does help to prevent sagging skin, drinking what the skin loves water. So for those of you that are trying to keep the skin in perfect shape, okay, your skin loves water. So it helps to prevent sagging skin, flushes out the impurities of the skin, and can leave you with a clear, younger looking, glowing complexion. That's exactly what you wanted, wasn't it, Matt?
That was Matt's goal, absolutely.
We won't make any conversations about what drinking water does for hair. Those of you that are listening to the podcast will miss the humor. Matt has not one hair on his head. So, we would encourage you to, let me keep moving forward here on how much water should you drink. We would encourage you to drink at least 8 ounces of glasses of water a day. Sorry, 8. Let me back that up. Okay, we would encourage you to drink at least 8 glasses of water per day, about 2 quarts of water, about 64 ounces. If you're overweight or you're in a hot climate, like Audrey had talked about earlier, if you're doing a lot of workout in hot weather, maybe you're exercising intensely, you might need to drink more. Now, I do want to mention, keep in mind that for some individuals, they really should not drastically increase or decrease their water intake, because it can affect certain medication effectiveness and levels in the body. So talk with your healthcare provider, get the advice that you need for your specific situation. But as a general rule, we would say 64 ounces of water. So back to you guys. Talk to us about, okay, for somebody who says, great, I want to drink all this water. How am I going to get that done?
It's a great question. First, just start would be my suggestion. Just start and fit it into your schedule however works best with you, but stick with it. The first few days are going to result in more frequent trips to the bathroom. It's just reality. More in, more out. But it's what we want. That's just showing us that our body is now letting go of those stored reserves of fluid. It's flushing out that water that's been stored. It's a good thing. So your ankles, your hips, your thighs, those places where we tend to store water, it's going to start letting go of those things. And I'm talking as a female here. Maybe Matt's looking at me like, what are you talking about? But your body's letting go of that. So that's good. Let that happen. Continue. Hang in there. Those trips to the bathroom will begin to settle down as your body begins to regulate. And I would recommend that you track your fluid intake. I know when Shirley asked the question, how much water do you drink now? I would have grossly overestimated my water intake. I really thought I had a good habit of drinking water. I've always liked water. But when I actually started to track what I drank, the reality was much less than what I thought in my head. So track your fluid intake. Maybe you have a pitcher that holds about 64 ounces of water. I just happen to know that my favorite water bottle holds 24 ounces of water. And I know how many of these I need to drink in a day's time. And I have it just sort of scheduled out throughout my day. One of the things I do is first thing in the morning, before I can have my cup of coffee, and this is just a little, incentive I do for myself, I finish whatever's left in my water bottle that I've taken to bed with me at night. I must drink the rest of that water before I can have my first cup of coffee. That way I know I've at least got 20 ounces of water in right off the bat. I take it just kind of like medicine because it's good for me. And I do that at room temperature typically because I find room temperature water easier to chug. So that's just my one tip. Start off the day with a good intake of water.
Yeah. And, this was a habit of health that was a challenge for me because, like Shirley said, if that water did not pass through a coffee filter, I was not drinking it. And so the idea of drinking lots of water throughout the day just was like, how on earth am I going to get this done? And so, part of it is really just having a plan, creating a plan to get all that water in. Always carry a water bottle with you. Larger is easier. I have a water bottle that's 32 ounces. And for me, this is great because I have something that's measurable. I will fill it up in the morning and, typically I will sip this between breakfast and lunch. And then at lunchtime, I'll fill it again and I'll sip it between lunch and, late afternoon. I'll drink more at dinner. Now I'll go to the gym and I'll drink one of these just at the gym. And so, for me, that's really helped just having that visual, knowing exactly, how much water I'm drinking every day. Create a chart, mark it off until you develop the habit, for 2 months. In the Optavia 30 guide, there's this great little pullout thing on week 1 that lets you track your water consumption every day. Just mark that off. And I'm a box checker. I love to get things off my list every day and know that I got that done. Figure out, how many pitchers to drink every day. One thing that's helpful too is, just plain water is great. But, maybe just spruce it up a little bit with some flavor infusers. They add essentially no calories, just the flavor. They're reusable. Adding a sprig of mint, maybe some sliced oranges, lemons, cucumbers, fresh ginger, some herbs. Just kind of find something that you like and that works for you.
You know what, Matt, can I interrupt you just for a second? Because this
Absolutely.
whole thing of adding flavor infusers, like something to infuse the water, like the sliced, and even for those that are in our weight loss program, putting a sliced orange into your water, don't eat the orange right now, okay? Save that for after weight loss. But the flavoring is absolutely fine to add. And I would love to throw it into the chat box. Maybe you've got a favorite thing that you like to add to your water. Add that in there. Okay, because, could be some of you discovered something we haven't discovered yet. I know when I discovered that whole thing of putting a little bit of fresh ginger into the water, now I'll tell you, I've had some people have said, ooh, I tried that and I hated it. But I thought it was really good. Anyhow, go ahead, Matt.
Well, and speaking of flavor infusers, we do have some great flavor infuser packets that come with our program. What you want to do, though, is just make sure that you're limiting those to no more than 5 per day. And if you're using some of the calorie burn with the extra caffeine, let's limit those to about 3 per day so that we keep our caffeine levels at a good level. And you just experiment. I know Audrey will drink glacier water. She wants her water just almost frozen solid. Me, I will drink it at room temperature. I can chug it. I can get more in if it's at room temperature.
Yeah, disclaimer there. If I'm really intent on just drinking a lot at one time, then room temperature is definitely easier. But I am an ice cold water girl. I love my water cold.
Yeah.
But that's a personal preference.
If I drink it cold, I'm freezing. So mine's always room temperature. So, you just pick what's good for you.
Absolutely. It works either way.
And I knew this was going to happen. We were going to have such a good time. And we're going to run out of time. We're almost done.
Right. Well, and a benefit of cold water, though, is it does burn more calories. So,
right.
Or in the wintertime, just a hot mug of water, just to warm you up.
Yep. I would recommend that you stop drinking a few hours before bedtime for obvious reasons. You don't want to be up all night running to the bathroom. So set a goal to have your water goal consumed by maybe shortly after dinner time. That's kind of my goal. I want to have all my water in by around dinner time. And just sort of create a schedule that works for you when you know you're going to be traveling. This happens to Matt and I a lot. It's hard to drink a lot of water when you're traveling if you're not sure where restrooms are. So just sort of plan ahead. And like Matt said, our water bottles go everywhere with us. Our cell phones, our keys, and our water bottles are the essentials.
I think it sounds like a pretty great habit of health. I love it. Well, I had this little moment where I thought, well, maybe we could do this whole thing of like, do you like to sip your water or do you like to guzzle it? I was going to challenge you all to see if you wanted to guzzle your water bottle. But then I thought for some of you, like when an evening podcast, an evening habits of health call, guzzling 20 ounces of water is probably not a good idea, right? But I would encourage you all to set your goals for this week. What do you want to accomplish health-wise between now and next week's Habits of Health call? For some of you, it might be increasing your water intake from 8 ounces, maybe up to 40 ounces. Some of you are already at 40 ounces and you're going for 64. So just work on making progress forward this week. And I would also encourage you, this is really important for those of you who are clients, let your health coach know that you were on this call. Let them share with them one thing that you learned. And there's a good reason for doing that. One is it lets your health coach know you were on the call, okay? But when you share one thing that you've learned with them, it tends to solidify the learning in your head too, which is really kind of cool. So I would say, be sure to let your coach know, or maybe you're not a client. Maybe you just had a friend recommend this call to you. Get in touch with whoever invited you on the call. Share with them one thing that you learned. And congratulations to you all for making the time to be here, to invest in your health. Because when it comes to creating better health, we're just better together. A huge thank you to Matt and Audrey. It was great to have you guys on the call tonight.
It was great being here. Thanks, Shirley.
Well, thanks all for joining us this evening. And we're just delighted to have this time with you. Go make it a healthy week.
Good night.
Good night.
The preceding audio may have contained the personal testimonials of some Take Shape for Life health coaches or clients. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified, and your individual path to healthy living and weight loss will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a physician before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Take Shape for Life team.